Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to try to make this another short one for you today. As we continue our Module 3 notes, we're going to move into Lesson 9. Now, Lesson 9 is going to look a lot like Lesson 8. A lot of these lessons are just different strategies, different approaches for basically the same kind of thing we've been doing. Okay. Now, 3-9, that's 1 less than 10. I'll start with my Roman numeral today. Okay. 3-9, again, just more adding and subtracting mixed numbers. More adding and subtracting mixed numbers. Now we talked in class, it's a long bell. We talked a little bit in class about using vertical, I don't think I used this word though, alignment. Fancy way of saying we're going to line them up and down. Let's say I give you something that looks like this. Let's do 4 2/3 plus 3 1/4. Okay. For vertical alignment, we're just lining them up right on top of the other. Okay. Again, I'm really hoping this looks familiar. We practiced this a lot in class. Oops. 4 2/3 plus 3 1/4. Okay. Now, because I have a few things to show you, I'm not going to go ahead and do every individual step like I normally like to. Again, trying to make this a slightly shorter video for you also. We talked in class, first thing you want to do, just kind of mentally or lightly with a line, go ahead and split the whole numbers off from the fraction parts. Do not start with the whole numbers. Everybody always wants to. Please don't. Do the fractions first. The fractions, you're just going to use common denominator like we've been doing. Least common denominator for 3 and 4 should be 12. 3 times 4 is 12, so 2 times 4 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. 1 times 3 is 3. Okay. 8, 9, 10, 11. Just go ahead and add it up. There we go. Now, sometimes this will be an improper fraction. If it's an improper fraction, you do need to make sure that you turn it into a mixed number. Whatever it is, take the whole numbers, add them, and then we are going to combine these two pieces. Go ahead and add these two pieces together. 7 plus 11/12 is just 7 and 11/12. Now, if this had been a subtraction problem, I would have set it up the exact same way. Would not have been any big difference. 8 minus 3 would be 5. 4 minus 3 would be 1. Different answer, obviously, but subtraction works the same. When you are subtracting and there's no fraction on top, I strongly suggest you use the improper fractions, turn the mixed numbers into improper fractions. There is a way to borrow. We'll talk about that. We've done it in class, but I don't know. For some students, that can be tricky. Now, that was one process. There is another trick that the book will talk about. And this process, actually, I'm just going to call it See What You Know, but we're going to include that in one of the steps. So instead of calling it that, let's call it counting up / completing a whole. I'll show you what I mean by that in a minute. Okay, counting up, completing a whole. So let's take a look. This I will do my whole step 1, step 2. Okay. Like I said, this is what I was reading a minute ago. See if you can use what you know. Let me zoom out a little bit. See if you can use what you know about fractions to complete a whole. Now again, that could be a set, could be a region, whatever it is. See if you can use what you know about fractions to complete a whole. So let's go ahead. Sorry, some technical difficulties. There we go. Let's say 5 2/5 plus 2 3/5. Now this is a ridiculously simple example. The denominators are the same, so we know we're not going to have to switch anything around. But I'm hoping that you also notice something else. Now let me go ahead. I already mentioned same denominator. And if the denominator is the same, that's awesome. Okay. Now, take a look at 2/5 and 3/5. Okay. I could combine those. I could combine to make a set. I could combine those to make a set. So I'm going to skip 1, 2 lines. I'll show you why in a minute. For step 2, use what you find to solve mentally. Now again, this one's nice because you actually can solve mentally. I saved this for last because this isn't going to happen very often, but again, for this one you can. You've got 5 plus 2. Okay, well that would be easy to add. But then you know the 2/5 and the 3/5 combine to make 1. So you just add those. 5 plus 2 is 7, plus 1 more is 8. Now that's addition. What if you're subtracting? Okay, let's go back up here to step 1. So let's say I'm doing some subtraction. Let's say I have 2 minus 1 5/8. This is another one of those subtraction problems where there's no fraction here. Okay? And in fact, go ahead and write that down. Only 1 fraction. Okay, well, means I might have to borrow. See if there's anything else I can do. Let's ask a different question. What would I need? What would I need? What would I need to complete a whole? What would I need to complete a whole set? I use the word set over here, I use the word whole up here. What would I need to complete a whole? Okay. Well, if I look at this and I think, okay, this is where the counting up comes in. If I have 1 5/8, well, 5 out of 8, I would need 3 more eighths to complete the set, to complete the whole. So if I added 3/8 onto this thing, 1 5/8 plus 3/8, that would be 2, right? It would be equal to this. So the only difference between 2 and 1 5/8 is that 3/8. Whatever I would need, and again, I'm just thinking, add 3/8 and that would get it up to 2. That is my answer. Kind of have to put it down here since I put a little thought bubble there. But there we go. Now, We'll talk more about this in class. We'll do some examples. I wanted to show you this quickly, but honestly, folks, this is what you're going to use most of the time, the vertical alignment. That's why we've been practicing in this in class. I know it's a little backwards. I haven't really given you too much in the way of solid notes on it. To be honest, I just don't really want you to feel like you have to write all that much, step by step by step. I want you to learn this one mostly by doing. Okay, I'll go ahead and stop here. Like I said, trying to make it a little shorter for you. If you have any questions, bring them to class. I'll see you next time.